I got all that clean shot for cheap. That sucks.
Anywho's, welcome to the PARAcast. I'm your host, Tomas the Boss Hernandez. Joining me tonight. What did I write? His drafting mouse weighs 58 ounces. New batteries coming. It's Robert Wyatt.
That's how you draw the straight lines. Stable. Transitions.
Our dog, Bear, Bearsifer. He's had a streak the past few days where we come home from whatever we're doing, church or school or work or whatever, and we come home and the trash can has been knocked over. And so he normally stays out of everything, but I've been cooking a lot, and then we go to grocery shopping, and then the leftover stuff hits the trash can, and then it just drives his little nose crazy. And I don't know if you guys know the new the Zoomer lingo, but if someone's going to get killed, they're not going to get killed. They're going to get quote unquote slimed. And Michael came out of the kitchen from when we came home from church last week, and he goes, "Dude, Bear's going to get slimed." And then we look in there, and it's all messed up. So now we have a 20-pound weight and a 10-pound plate on the bottom of our trash can, so he can't knock it over. So we are increasing the weight of our household products. Kevin Isaac would be very happy. And also joining us, want another 2011 video? No, you say? Well, too damn bad, because it's the humble marksman, David Blanton.
That was the open to video I made today. That's good. It's good of you.
I watch your videos every week. The last video I watched was of course on the P365, the Daniel Horner. You know what? And if I'm Daniel Horner, I'm rip shit. Daniel Horner has been on that shooting team for like over a decade, and only after 2 people leave are we starting to see the Daniel Horner edition of these guns come out more and more. I think they might have had like an M400 trad or something.
They got one of those, and they got one of the P320s for him too. It had like a carbide grip thing that came out 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, now he's got a 365 too.
Yeah.
That's what I say, man. Like, you watch the 365 is slowly just going to take over, and the 320 is going to go away. They're going to come out with a full size 320.
Well,
it's going to happen.
That was what Focus Trip was saying that he had in a fever dream, which, while he's trying to avoid saying the word, it was leaked to me that there's going to be a P320 framed, P320 magazine, P320-esque slide, but with a P365 fire control inside of the gun. So basically trying to save as much as the P320 as possible while ditching the fire control unit, which will release sometime this year. And
that's the only way that they're functionally going to be able to get rid of the albatross that is the 320, right? I mean, that 320 just has a bad rep, but 365, everybody likes the 365. It's a fine firearm by most people's standards.
The P320, like, I was sitting there, because I was in the market to buying something, and you just kind of look at stuff for fun. And I was like looking at like the P320 line. I was like, well, what's going on here? Like, what have they shed? What have they picked up? And I saw it on there, the P320 Reserve. And I'm like, ooh, what's this? And it's like, oh, it's a steel framed, aggressively checkered, comped, or ported, or whatever they want to call it, barreled P320, all decked out. It's in like kind of like a stainless finish, but it's stainless steel finish. It's very aggressive. And I was like, dude, that looks pretty cool. That looks like a cool gun. I won't buy it, but it looks like a cool gun. And so I typed on like P320 Reserve reviews. And the stuff that I saw at the top of the list was Sig Sauer's own video on the gun. I could not find anybody who got a 320 Reserve or tested a 320 Reserve or shot anything. I think I saw like a couple like desktop reviews of somebody who might have it in a gun store, but like I didn't see anything on it. And it's just like, well, how do most people, they either buy the gun themselves, they do the review, or the gun is sent to them. And so if there's not a lot of people doing SIG product reviews on the P320 Reserve, well, that narrows one channel that they might be getting from. So,
well, I mean, a lot of ranges don't allow, like, I can't shoot any of the P320s I have at the range anymore. So I was like, hey, got a new P320. I was like, well, cool. I can't do anything with it. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I bet there's a lot of people who are having that problem right now.
Well, and I would I always have this thought that there's a range at the bottom of like the 6 hour like firearms plant, and it says no P320s. I always thought that would be a great thing. Just that's a joke. Phil Strader, you can take that one. But yeah. Anyways, anywho's, so I was looking through Dave Blanton's videos, and then I was like, I want to see something that's kind of interesting. And then like you could pretty much like you sort your videos and you like look at the popular videos versus like there's like shooting techniques, but most of them are inexpensive firearms that get the most views on your channel. So like literally there's like a sort by price feature. And so like nowadays, because you've been doing this 2016.
Yeah, I guess that's probably when I started doing crappy iPhone videos. I would say properly with cameras and editing like 2019, but yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, so like, you know, we've known of Dave for a long time, and so we're just sitting there starting at this, and like so Dave's been covering the industry as it's gone from the end of the Gucci Glock era into like, oh, let's get more and more like service striker fired type of pistols, and everyone was trying to make that. And then the 2011 craze. And so like the price scale on everything that's he's been making a video of has ever increasingly gone up. And now if you sort like, I don't know if I could scroll through your videos that aren't on like the Gen 6 Glock, but it's very hard to find pistols that are under $1,000.
And it's funny you mentioned that because last year when I did my like year-end wrap-up thing, I actually went back and I pulled the prices down for all the guns I reviewed. And then I went even further and I was like, look for all the press releases of the guns that were released in 2025 and just got all of there weren't that many releases in 2025. I mean, there's like, I don't know, 30 or 40 pistols. I don't include revolvers or anything with that. Median price is like $1,200, like the median. The average is higher than that because, expensive guns. So what's happening is like, if you want a cheap gun, you're buying a used gun. If you want a new gun and you want it inexpensive, then like Taurus has got you covered, Gerson's got you covered, and that's about it. Maybe Ruger, but everybody, like even Smith & Wesson, the guns they're starting to make now and push are more expensive guns. The new.
I don't know how they are getting away with putting an aim point acro on one of those steel or aluminum frame pistols and then being like, hey, guess what? It's $1,400 now.
It's silly. I mean, their steel frame gun is like $1,200. I think that's what I paid for it. And it's not worth $1,200. It's a nice gun. It's the best M&P that they make, but it's not worth that much money. I mean, you can buy a Canik Rival S for, sub $800, maybe $1,000, so you could see that. The steel frame PDP is like $1,600.
Well, and especially when you consider that, I mean, a brand new Shadow 2, which is kind of the meta for carry optics in USPSA right now, is still right around that $1,200-ish dollars.
Yep.
I mean,
it's arguably the nicest thing about the Shadow is the aftermarket is such that you can tune the shit out of that gun to the point that it'll, ND into your foot, and it'll.
What's the final analysis on that? Dude got his finger in the trigger, or like what do we really think happened there?
I think he got his finger in the trigger.
I think Robert has not done this yet, but I want Robert to do it. I think he has
himself in the foot.
Yeah, Robert, please, Limpy, get shot in the foot. I'll give you size 4. You know what?
Hey, hang on, guys. Just for you, for science.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a laser bore sighter. We're gonna bore sight the pistol inside the holster. We're gonna go to a thrift store. We're gonna get Robert a size 15 shoes. And then we are going to point the laser at the point of a shoe that we know his feet are in at, and then we're going to recreate the event. And listen, it'll get a ton of views. We'll throw some AdSense on it. Like, it'll be fantastic. Be like, man shoots himself to prove whatever. Man shoots himself for science. And then, we'll
YouTube
get everybody.
YouTube would demonetize that because it's not being safe.
Well, we'll tell
it. Rumble.
Odyssey. Man, well, we'll do what everybody else. We'll do what our good friend Wendigoon could do, which is every time Wendigoon has to explain a firearm in a video, he takes out a gun, racks it open, and then tells his YouTube manual reviewer and the AI, this is an airsoft gun, which I've never seen such detailed AK airsoft guns in my entire life. You know, where you roll it and you can see the entire bolt down through the magazine well. You know, those kind of things. So maybe we could try something like that.
I miss the good old days when we could text Grubner the thing and it would go viral and everybody would all be like, "Yeah, that was good."
Well, when
we didn't have to have these reviewers and demonetizing things.
That guy who shot the 50 cal out of a steel plate and it bounced back and knocked off his earphones. I met that guy out in Vernal, Utah.
Wow.
If you
that actually explains a lot.
You know what? I wouldn't say there's
Vernal, Utah.
Yeah, there's no good people
in
Alabama.
I
would say if Iran developed an intercontinental ballistic missile and it hit Vernal, Utah, we could consider them allies. So, but I met that guy. But yeah, YouTube used to let you do anything like that, and I don't even think anybody wants to go over to Rumble. Like, no matter how strict
Rumble sucks, dude. It's just not the views are not there.
Yeah, the views are not there, and I guess it's pretty hard on the creator side. But people will stop doing the things that YouTube tells them not to do, like reloading and disassembling guns. Like they'll stop doing them, because
it's hard too because Rumble. I mean, Rumble does represent a place where people can go, and like Brian Connolly's over there, and he puts out a great show. But there's no doubt. I mean, I couldn't even give you the metrics, but if Rumble has 100 people view it, YouTube by comparison would have 10,000. It just the available views is just so much better on YouTube because YouTube is Rome, and all roads lead to Rome at this point.
Yep, absolutely. But now I can officially say Robert shoots a budget-minded pistol and carry optics in LO because
See, eventually, it all comes back to the Shadow 2.
It all comes back to the Shadow 2. What doesn't come back to the Shadow 2 is this bad boy that I picked up. This is a VP9l-B. And
Dirty.
So I went there handling guns. We talked about it last week where I handled a PDP and I handled an Echelon, and I was like, oh, all right, well, whatever. Handled a P10, and I was like, I actually kind of like that better than the other two. And then I handled a VP9 just because I was kicking around, and I was like, I really like the VP9, and I have one. I have a ton of magazines. And so I asked them, do you have a VP9B in the back? And they said, sure. And so I handled the VP9B, and then I was like, all right, well, I want an L-B. So I went on, found guns.com, and ordered a VP9 L-B, this was the only one on the internet, sold by guns.com because it is discontinued. The B frames, HK is not making the B frames anymore. They have their VP9A1s, which don't have the finger grooves and have a different slide combination on them. So those are what's in. Most 95% parts compatibility with the new stuff. So the only thing that's different on this one, it has a push button reversible magazine release. It's not on the opposite side. And you push the button, and the magazine comes out, and that's that. Besides
did you say that the magazine button isn't reversible?
Is that going to be hard for you to sell in 2 months when you get tired of it?
Possibly, but we'll find out. We'll find out. It is a reversible magazine release, so it's not ambi. It's reversible. Okay. You can flip it onto the other side.
Yeah, reversible is fine. I mean, I don't care. It doesn't have to be ambi. I mean, the last ambi magazine release was the Springfield XD, maybe. I think
the Echelons are proper ambi as well, I believe.
They are as well. So
FN makes an absolutely atrocious ambi magazine release. Yeah, I mean, there's I think some of the CZs, the P10, was it the original Cs had an ambi magazine release, something like that.
I don't think so because you can swap them. I know.
I think they have reversible ones now. I think, but they had an original.
Yeah, almost everything these days is reversible to some extent. The 2011 is still the big holdout of not having it, and so there's companies that make workarounds for them. Although, I guess Staccato, the Glock
HDs are fully, yeah,
they can do that pretty easy, and so that works.
Yeah, so. Some of the neat little features of the thing: grip, fantastic on the gun. Side panels, back strap. 5-inch barrel. O-ringed 5-inch barrel. So,
wow.
Yeah, fancy feast. Running an Athena precision optics plate with the Delta Point Pro, 6 MOA. on the pistol. And the only reason it has a TLR1 on it because all my other VP9 holsters are meant for TLR1. But like, it's a fantastic pistol. Like, it's got a great trigger. Trigger has basically no creep into it. Like, VP9's fantastic. Went out there with Alex yesterday, shot 400 rounds through it, and
did Alex have a better day? He was kind of in the doldrums Friday
about his Glock, his Gen 6. Yeah. I was talking to him because like he's like, I shoot my Gen 5 Glock 26 better, and I was like, well, there's a whole lot of creep in those Gen 6 triggers. And like, if you're ever messing around with the trigger, you can put your trigger finger on the trigger, but don't apply any pressure. And then like you can add your thumb to it or just press it with another finger. And then once you get to the kind of the wall, you can see when you're pushing slowly with another appendage there, like how much creep is in those triggers. And Glocks generally have a decent amount of creep.
Yeah.
The Gen 6 Glock, they engineered it for more. Like, they still kind of decided to give it somewhat of a wall. And then what they did is like, would you like this wall to travel another 16th of an
millimeters?
Inch? Yeah.
Hey, like, check your audio, Dave. I think it switched over to
switched
something.
your mic.
But yeah.
And so the thing with it, it's like Glock triggers, right? So back in the day, if you wanted a soft rolling break, you would get like a minus connector.
The rocket minus connector.
Yeah, you get a minus connector or something like that, and then you'd have like this kind of more rolling break with a less defined wall. Then you had like the 5.5 connectors that had pretty decent wall. Then they had the dot connectors that had a decent wall would break.
Was I just having like a uniquely good run of Gen 5 Glocks when I say that the Gen 5 trigger was actually pretty good?
The Gen 5 trigger's pretty decent out of the box.
I thought the Gen 5 trigger, like out of the box, was a very fine trigger.
Yeah.
And enough that I'm like, this is a shootable gun that I wouldn't change, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I think the one thing with the complaint with the Gen 6 is that it's the worst trigger they've ever kind of produced in a gun. And when just messing with it, Alex put in a dot connector, a Gen 4 dot connector into the Glock, and then it kind of cleaned up a bit of the trigger. But there is still plenty of creep in that trigger past the wall. Like, it is an abysmal trigger. And so
mine's not so bad. I don't see a problem with
it. I think in compare it, if it's by yourself and you're sitting there messing with it and you're like shooting it, it's like, okay, it's fine, serviceable trigger, whatever. But I think when you kind of break it down compared to other ones, I don't think it's that great. And so, I think if
Dave, if you had, sorry,
go ahead,
Tommy, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, Dave, have you had a 5 and a 6?
Yeah, I've got all my like original that I started competing in carry optics with are Gen 5 Glocks. And I got those, and I got the Gen 6 17. I like as somebody who
any better, or is that just me?
I think if you're used to shooting Glocks, you'll probably like the Gen 5 better. If you're not used to shooting Glocks, you'll like the Gen 6 better, and that's kind of where I land on it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem. I bought that Gen 5 19, and it was the first Glock that I bought where I was actually sitting there and I'm like, I could just do nothing to this gun and be very pleasantly happy, because I thought they actually did a pretty swell job with it. Like, not an issue in the world with it,
except for the sights.
Yeah, but it had a, what do you call it? It was a carry optic. It was an MOS version, and so I never even looked at the sights. Truth is, I can't. There's not a gun that I buy today that I even remotely have the idea of like, I'm going to shoot iron sights with this. It just doesn't exist anymore, which is the weirdest thing. If like to see like the journey of, like production rules the world, and to get to a point of like, nah, I don't want to do the irons anymore.
It is nice if it has the options. If you pull the optic on it and it still does something, or if you want to compete in irons, you pull the optic off it and it's fantastic. Like this thing, this is the version that has the blacked out rear with the excess kind of big dot green sight that kind of shoots to the center of the dot. And for like practical shooting, it's not too bad. It's not great for small pieces of steel. It's still my only one complaint, and I believe David's only one complaint about the VP9l, is that it ships you with these wonderful steel, full body, zippered 20-round magazines that happen to be how long, David?
I don't even know, but they're longer than 140 millimeters.
They send you your competition pistol with 20-round magazines that are longer than 140 millimeters. And so, what are you gonna do? But besides that, like it's a great gun. But yeah, like I like having the irons or something on there. The one thing that I have a hard time with the Gen 6 Glock because they made some improvements in other places on the gun, and the gun feels better. It's much more aggressive on the texture, and the trigger slightly worse. But what they've gone back to is kind of Glock's default position, which is we're gonna do. Listen, we're made for heroes. We're gonna do the best we can for everybody, but we are gonna do it literally as little as possible for you guys. It's like the zone of the pistol where Glock says, "Hey, not out of our paycheck," is the top of the gun, the top of the slide. Bad sights. The MOS was a kind of a bad cut, and they tried to cheap out on optics plates. And now they give you these rubberized hard plastic gaskets, whatever they are, to put on there. And then they're like, hey, go use the screws from other manufacturers and put that on the gun. And like, will it hold? Will it hold? Will it not shear on the screws? Like, it's kind of like, okay.
We'll find out.
Yeah, like, we'll find out. And it's just like mounting optics on pistols and having tolerances for like recoil bosses and stuff like that. Like, you pay good money to send it off to a machine shop to put good tolerances in something like this Athena precision plate. Like, you got to kind of press it on the gun. You can like pull it off, but like it can stay on with some friction pressure, and the delta point can stay on it with a little bit of friction pressure. Like, it is a well machined piece of steel. And then you look at what Glock's sending out with these things, and you're just like, and it's kind of like everyone's like, well, we'll see.
It's better than the MOS cut.
It's better than the MOS cut, and then like it, and if it goes bad, we'll just buy a plate. So, I don't know. I was happy with this. Shot a bunch of 25-yard bill drills. Shot some super tests. My shooting is not anywhere close to where the level it used to be. I shot about 150 rounds of doubles yesterday, and with some miraculous performances at 7-10 yards, and then some not so miraculous performances. I shot a fast test. I bring up the gun, one shot to the head, second shot to the head, reload, and literally shot one in the body, one up near the head, one below the 8-inch ring, and then one back into the 8-inch ring. And I'm just like, I've had strings where you do like 5 and 5 where I'm shooting, and it's like super hard to like hit anything on the 1-5 shot, B8 1 2 3 4 5, and immediately transition over, and then I land 5 shots into the X ring because I'm watching the dot now. Like, I just have, it's kind of everywhere, but at least shooting like B8s and something like the slow fire stuff is back. That stuff's back. The quick fire stuff is not exactly back yet for me, and it's probably
what scares me though is if you don't go out this next time and have a market improvement, this gun's going to be up for sale in week 3.
Maybe it's going to happen.
Listen, David, shut up. You have a new gun every week. Like, I don't.
Yeah, but only compete with one gun.
Yeah, I compete with one gun, and then I shoot all these other ones, and then whatever.
Yeah, but on the plus side, it makes for a great pod.
David's living in like the open marriage of like gun stuff. Is like, no, you son of a bitch, I love that woman with all my heart. You understand me? I'm committed to her.
It's just a throuple.
And then you see him on Instagram with some other chick, and he's just like, listen. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, David Blanton, the Bill Clinton of gun shooting, is like,
snap.
He points with his thumb. I love Hillary with all my heart. It's just like we have been together. What marriage isn't perfect? But it was just like, oh, I saw some video of them doing a 2020 interview back in the day, and then like a lamp falls over, like one of the lighting lamp falls over on like Hillary, and like he barely moves, and then she runs into Bill's arms and like he's holding her, and then I was just like, man, that was the sales pitch for them in 1992, and this was literally in a conversation where they're talking about their marriage. So interesting. Anyways, Robert,
Andy's actually doing a show, and he's like, "Are you getting on?" I'm like, "I'm doing my own show right now." This week, So Lance, we did the second time we've done the PCSL match, and it was great. It was really fun. But he's like, you really need to come out and shoot a rifle, and I'm like, I don't shoot rifles, and he's like, I know, but you need to. And I was like, well, I was going to bring my MP5, and he's like, yeah, but rifle, because you need recoil in your life. And joke's on him, because I mean the 223 has about as much rifle as an MP5. It doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
But at the last minute, I'm like, you know what? Sure, why not? I go home a little bit early. I'm going through my safe, and I'm trying to find a rifle that'll actually work. And so I was like looking at one, looking at the other, and like, oh, I'll just take the bottom on this one, and I'll stick it on the top of that one, and I'll take that to the match, and I'll shoot it. And I'm like, cool, good plan. So show up, go through, we settle the match up. First stage shows up. And remember, I haven't shot a rifle in like well over a year. So timer goes off. I take the first shot, and it goes first shot, second shot, third shot, fourth, and then the bolt kind of like slowly starts going back into battery. Okay, that's weird. Next shot, it locks open, and I look at it. Then it finally shuts again. By the time I get to the last target, the gun's not even working. I mean, it's like it's a bolt action at this point. I'm like, well, that's uniquely suboptimal. And so I finish, and those are clear, and they're like, have you oiled the gun? Well, shit. Seems to be something you should do.
And this is when you go out to the car. I've had to do this one time where somebody's gun didn't work and there wasn't any oil anywhere. And I went to my dipstick, and then I pulled out the dipstick, and then I just started shaking oil onto the bolt carrier. And then go back into the dipstick, pull it out, shake oil back onto the bolt carrier. But you're at formerly a gun store. There's got to be oil in the place somewhere.
Well, and that was the nice thing. Moreno was there, and he's like, hey, do you need oil? I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. And so he was super sweet, got it, and I took it out and just dumped oil all over it, throw it back in the gun, and we get ready for stage 2. Stage 2 comes up, and make ready, get the gun all ready, and it's from about 25 yards. You draw, or not draw, what do you call it? Bring up the gun. You
Mount.
Bring up the gun. Yeah, and shoot at 2 targets, reload the gun, and then shoot 2 targets more. I'm like, cool, straight up. So I go do that, reload, shoot it. We walk down there, and there was 6 mics and 2 no shoots. Turns out, zeroing the gun is also a very useful thing to do in life, because at some point I had taken that optic and put it on top of that particular top end and never actually zeroed the gun. So that's also very helpful. After that stage is over,
you don't have you don't have like a go-to rifle in the safe. Like you don't have a rifle. It's just like, all right, well, like this one's ready to go in case something happens. And since I know this one's ready to go, I'm going to take that to the match. I'm not a rifle guy.
I mean, in my closet, I have my home defense Beretta that works really, really well. I like it a lot. And if I really wanted to, I'd pull the MP5. I just don't shoot rifles. Just don't do it. It's just not my jam. But Scott, he's like, he grabs a red sticky, the red target tape, sticks it on the head box, and so we pace off about 10-15 yards, and I aim at it, and then we walk up, nothing. I'm like, okay, well, let's try it right dead center in the A zone. And I aim at that, pull the trigger, we walk up, it's in the middle of the D to the right.
I think that's your trigger pull.
I think it might be.
It sounds like a skill issue.
It sounds slightly like a safety issue. Like I'm just kind of a stickler for like if you're going to shoot at like 25 and 30 yards and you're skipping stuff out. Like our friend Nate, he made a VZ61 Scorpion. And then he brought it to the range, and I was like, this is there. And Alex and Nate are just having a ball. Oh, look at this! Like, this is the kind of thing that happens to middle-aged men, where they're just like, wow, it shoots 32 ACP. Isn't that amazing? We can and it's just like this. It's a 32 ACP open bolt piece of metal that's folded onto itself. Like, this existed before the MP5, and it wasn't very good. Anyways. I'm shooting at a piece of steel, and I notice that when I shoot it, about 7 feet, 8 feet to the left, and about 10 feet low is the impact. And then, like, I'm literally like, you have to aim slightly above the berm for the bullet impact to hit what you're shooting at. And at what point is this just like gross negligence? Like, somebody's going to drive by the range, you just see like they're shooting over the berm because the sights are so bad. So, a little tip, everybody: if you want to zero an AR-15 at 10 yards, aim at whatever you're shooting at. If you have like a standard co-witness or lower 1/3, shoot at a spot, take a piece of brass, and then when the piece of brass is the bottom of the bullet's at the base of the brass and the top of the bullet's at kind of at like the top where you're aiming, that's pretty much zeroed for 10 yards. And then you can go back from there and get a better zero. The lower D zone is probably not what you want.
Well, it was off to the right, so it was still on the target. I mean, the tactical.
He was indoors, Tom. Look, it was indoors. It was going to hit solid walls. It's fine.
And the tactical bros would say that's combat marksmanship. So, like, I don't see a problem here. But like, crank, finally get it over. It's zeroed enough for the match, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out. I'll take it out to the range. I'll get it zeroed. It'll be good. And so, but it was fun. It's fun to shoot. It's fun to shoot rifles once in a while.
I saw you shooting somebody's M16 20-inch style rifle that somebody had brought.
That's a gun. That's a throwback. It has that weird heat deflector looking thingy on it.
Yeah, like the A1/M203 top end or whatever.
That's the coolest part about that little match that Lance runs, honestly, is just that people will bring out guns that you just don't normally see. You shoot a regular PCSL match or something like that, and they're all bringing the AR-15s because that's what it is. But no, somebody had it was a Hellion, the bullpuppy thingy.
Yeah, VHS 2.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun just to see people doing it. And the long-term hope of that match is that it sort of acts in the same way that the USPSA match that I run does, where it just serves as an on-ramp to getting people into PCSL. I think if we do that, it's going to be great for the sport, because PCSL is big. I mean, multi-gun PCSL is big at a lot of other places in the world. You talk to Adam Reiser, and I mean, he's traveling all over the country doing all kinds of that fun stuff. But I mean, here, it's just not big.
Yeah.
And I don't know why entirely, but there's not a huge. I mean, Kerry Palmer, he's kind of retired out of it now, But I mean, he used to really drive it hard, and that was when it was the USSL
3-Gun Nation before that and all that jazz.
Yeah. Yep. And then that kind of went tits up, and Max Leograndis came up with PCSL, and honestly, by all accounts, I think Max probably Max probably has the winning solution for how to appropriately run a multi-gun match.
Yeah.
Because the rules generally make a lot of sense, and it's just fun. It was a fun time.
I find nothing more of a deterrent from me attending a match than an indoor rifle match.
Right? Yeah, no thanks. Hard pass.
Like, rifles indoors. Like, if I take someone to the pistol range just to zero something to go shoot with them, and someone's shooting a rifle, I find it the most egregious thing of like decorum that people can do, especially when they're shooting some 10-inch Draco and I'm sitting there with a kid in there. Like, I find it's not only like abrasive, like
it makes your feelings hurt in your teeth. Like, you can feel it. It's horrible.
And then it ruins it. Like, there's so many people who go into an indoor range for the first time and they're trying to shoot, and then someone's shooting a rifle on an indoor range. Like, I get it. Like, you're in a rifle match, everyone's shooting rifle match, everyone's kind of in it to win. cool, whatever. But like if you're actually going in there trying to help somebody or teach them, because like a lot of places that's where you have to go.
Right.
And then it's just like abrasively loud stuff that shakes the entire room and you can't communicate with anybody in it. Like it's ridiculous. I hate it.
So here's it. Everything you're saying is correct, and I had the same feeling of what you're saying, and it honestly was one of my big concerns going into this match. Back when we started it last month, there's a couple observations that I noticed. When you're actually outside in the bay, the sound has somewhere to go, has a lot more places to go, and so it's not as bad. But the other thing that I was genuinely surprised by was a large majority of the people are running suppressors. Definitely helps. But there are guys with open guns, and I'm like Josh King has he has an open gun that's got popple holes on it. And that gun is more unpleasant than a rifle. And you're like, no, it really was. I mean, and I was super surprised that some of the rifles that get shot at that rifle match were noticeably more pleasant to be around than and Josh's gun is great. I'm not bagging on Josh, but it's just an example, right? Then some of the open guns that the way they're set up, they hurt.
Yeah.
And so everything you're saying is completely correct. I mean, indoor shooting with the rifle is rough. I completely agree. The 2 matches experience that we've had now have given me a little bit more insight and optimism to how things can be. You're still gonna have some guys that show up with, these 20-inch loudinators on a gun, and you're just like, fuck you, man. And you're not going to get away with that or away from that. But I was surprised that there was a bit of nuance to it.
Solid. David?
Well, I shot the Texas State IDPA match this Friday, and it was a good time. IDPA can be fun. However, if you have Luigi Lee on your squad, which I did, he was shooting a revolver, which was hilarious. It makes you realize just how much room for improvement the rules have. And I'll give you a few examples of Luigi range lawyering this match to death. And that, like, he was right to do it. You have to do it. I understand what he was doing, because when you see a loophole in the rules and you're like, I'm going to do this thing, but I need the SO to understand that what I'm doing is legal because the rules aren't, as tight as they could and should be. I need them to acknowledge that before I do it so I don't just get the penalty. So he was doing that basically. And there was one stage that had a target on a runner and he was shooting a revolver. And so you had to shoot 6 shots to activate this runner, which would cause a revolver to reload. And the problem with that is by the time any revolver shooter reloads that gun, the runner's gone. They're going to take penalties. But at the top of the carriage, the head was visible over the hardcover steel that was covering it, but it was still impacted in the berm, so it's still safe to shoot. So Luigi figured out he could just, shoot the first 4 shots, dump 2 at the target, not onto it to activate it. Then he just sat back, did a reload, and on his good time, just sat there and sniped the head box of this, target by 15, 20 yards, whatever it was. Then sent 4 at it, then activated the target by hitting the target it was supposed to activate. Went on down the road. So that was one. And that was ridiculous. The next one was a standard stage where you had to shoot from the left of this barricade, and you had to shoot in your support hand only, which with a revolver sucks, and they're 8 shots. So that means they're going to have to, shoot with their support hand only, transfer the gun back to their main hand to, open the cylinder and begin to do the reload, then transfer it back just to shoot that one target. So Luigi, by his math, decides, nah, fam, I'm just going to run it. And like, what's the penalty for just shooting it freestyle? He just shoots it freestyle, gets the flagrant penalty of 10 seconds. And there's the only other revolver shooter on the squad was in the squad with us. And he's a pretty good shooter. Luigi's raw time was 13 seconds faster, so the math worked out.
Oh, jeez.
To eat a 10-second penalty, just do it. In fairness to him, I shot it properly with the pistol. and he was like, I don't know, 0.4 of a second slower doing, 2 revolver reloads versus just, 1 pistol reload. And so it was a viable strategy. But the real big thing that I noticed was terminated fault lines. So like IDPA has started using these terminated fault lines to get away from people, extending the fault lines to infinity and standing back and sniping and all this kind of stuff to kind of try and ease up on the officiating. But the problem is that when you terminate a fault line, like how you terminate it, and what we did in this match was they used like a 2-foot section of fault line at the end of the fault line to show the termination. So it created this whole argument of like what is technically not exposing yourself to the targets mean, all this kind of stuff. So that probably has some work to do on clearing that up. But that was fun. It was a good match, really good match. And I don't know if you want to do this now, Robert, but I have some questions for the panel. I would be very curious to know the answers.
Let's hear it.
So, lab commander timers, as we know, will record shots. Should the shot recording be grounds to alert match staff that something is amiss and we need to reevaluate these scores and force reshoots without like a protest period or anything like that? And the reason I asked this question is this happened in a match recently, and the shooter was unavailable to come back and actually perform a reshoot, and somebody, like, they were buddies, so a buddy narked on the other guy and basically got him close to being DNF'd for the whole match. So like, number one, what if we didn't have those lab commander timers? There would be no way, like a dumb timer, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know whether it was there. So I'm curious, with the lab commander, because the other side of it is SOs don't necessarily catch all the shots. Like, you can't necessarily prove that the shots that are missing from the timer are the last shots.
Yeah, functionally, you only need the last shots. Functionally, it's nice to have all of them, right? So yeah,
sure.
That's a good question.
So, like, should there be a match mode on lab commander timers that does not record the shots? Because, I mean, it's almost like it's a targeted thing. Like, are you going to review everybody's shot timer logs the same way and make sure that everybody's shots show up, or just this one? So I open it up for discussion there to see what you guys feel about it. That's something that hadn't happened before. And with a little bit more digging, like if you get into it, you can begin to see like where we rely on those lab commanders too much and just think it's good. But the difference is the lab commander showing us that the SOs or ROs are slow and not getting all the shots. And that kind of highlights the problem of like the deeper end talent guys versus the guys who typically hold clocks at those matches. They can get outrun and just hold up the clock, think they're getting shots and not get them.
Well, that's not a commander issue.
That you're right. It's not. It just shows
it. The blue timer jobber things as well, right?
Yep.
And you would see that occur in the blue timers. I can't remember their names, but you know what I'm talking about. You'd see it with those because the splits
Pocket Pro.
would be so Pocket Pros. Yeah, the splits would be like, oh, that's clearly off. But yeah, I mean the problem that I would have with the whole situation is like in USPSA specifically, I mean, once the shooter and the ROs approve the time, the only way that it can be changed is if the shooter and the RO both agree that the time should be changed. And so if somebody comes in after the fact and is like, hey, you can see that this time didn't actually work. And it's like, well, we have video now that we can use. And so the video would be, what do you call it, exculpatory or whatever. The video would show it. But for somebody to actually go back and like try and do it, no, I don't think you can. I mean, once the time is on the scoreboards, that's it. You're done. I don't think. I mean, you can have a conversation with somebody about whether you should or shouldn't, but once the time is there, the time is there.
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's like all the time that's in the middle, like that doesn't count. Like all the splits that are recorded in the middle, they don't count. The first shot and the last shot is what counts. And it's just kind of like, why are we having a review if the review is not going to be used? And the people who are part of the review, that's what matters. The SO, the match director, and then the shooter who reviewed it, that's kind of what matters. the other part of having, SOs being outrun, it's like, and there's SOs that are getting outrun, and are they technically getting outrun? Unless they miss the last shot, then no, because that's the point. Is just to collect the first shot, start the shooter, monitor what he's doing safely, and then collect the last shot on the timer. And there's plenty of stages where, you can't be close to the shooter, or it's not safe to be close to the shooter until they get kind of to that last position and record the shot. But to go video evidence is so much more compelling and worthwhile and useful, and like eyewitnesses are, than popping in and looking at split times and then dictating what the split times are, because that's out of context from whatever. If you have a video and then you have the split times, like, that's something, but it's not everything, and it's not everything to what happened. And so, like, yeah, I mean, if people have a question about what a shooter's time is or something like that, then, and if there's a big enough question, then you reshoot it.
So that's an interesting one, because there was the standard stage I told you about with the weekend shooting. So everybody was basically like me, my buddy, and the current IDPA world champion. We all shot the more or less the same raw time. I was a little bit faster. I was like 16:41. They were closer to 17, but it was like 16, 17 seconds. And ours were picked up on the commander. But the guy who won the stage, his raw time is 14 seconds. And it's just like, dude's probably a good shooter, but like, I mean, Austin Prue, who's the IDPA national champion, he's a legit really good shooter.
Yeah,
like,
Austin's
he's much quicker than most people. And it's like, you did not outshoot Austin by 3 seconds. Like, so that, that one wouldn't necessarily, like, that one's a head scratcher, but it was accepted as a time, so the time stands, and there's no, things to point at. But that, I was thinking about this, and we are to a point now with vibe coding. Like, why doesn't USPSA and IDPA just vibe code a video scrubbing tool that can forensically put a time together and just certify, like, whatever this video tool analysis spits out is the time, or you can reshoot, one of the two. Because the most equitable thing would be to, everybody agrees that this tool is, accurate within an acceptable threshold, then just use this. But, I mean, I was thinking about it. I was driving back from Houston today, and I was like, I'm just going to sign up Claude and vibe code this tool that I'm speaking about, just so it exists and people can extract the shooter's times from these things, like, just so there is a utility that can do it. But why wouldn't that be acceptable? I mean, it seems the audio waveform, I mean, especially from HatCam, because HatCam is right there with the shooter. So you get the beep really clearly and you get the last shot really clearly. So like, a HatCam's audio is good enough to forensically recreate what the shot timer was seeing.
I think the hardest thing, though, is just, I mean, look how hard it was to get. Everything you're saying is correct, right? I mean, it's all possible. It's just how do you do that on the range in the middle of everything? I mean,
you got a stat check, dude.
Stats is kind of dead anymore.
All the majors around here, they'll have a stats guy. I mean, they're kind of a catch-all. Like, they help with like pad issues. So, if a battery's going down, they'll run out batteries and stuff like that. And they'll also, officiate reshoots and those kinds of things if they have to do it. They do a lot more, but it's not just sitting there doing stuff. And it can also be registration.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can do it. You're always gonna have to have somebody who's more intelligent than the average bearer. I mean, like, half the stuff you just said, I'd never even heard of until you said it. And so it's like, now you're asking. I mean, I'm more tech savvy than, say, 50% of the people, and so some of those other people are going to be even more behind the power curve. The hard thing I have is, I mean, if you're gonna do it, are you gonna do it for everybody? Is somebody gonna be coming back, or is it only when it comes up as a that's a question?
That's my question. Like, because obviously there would be, the stat would be used against competitors, probably against other competitors, looking at probably just stat times and being like, how did he shoot this fast? Let's somehow take his personal video which the IDPA or whatever doesn't have any right to, and then let's put it through, let's run it to see if it's real or not real. But the poor guy who's going for marksman, third place marksman, who might have a stat or something else like that, who's sitting there looking at like, well, I think I'm kind of hosed on my time. I think I got 4 seconds more or whatever. It's like, are we going to still break the same criteria into making sure that their score is correct? And so, like, unless a program can be used equally throughout the shooters and basically have all the information standalone by itself, it becomes kind of a harder thing, because now
that's back to the original question I'm posing, is like, when is it appropriate to escalate a review just because another competitor is sniffing around? Should another competitor have rights to challenge somebody else's score, or should they only have rights to challenge their own score? And from what I've read in the rule books, it sounds like you can't really protest other people's scores. It's just your own. So
yeah, no. If you want to protest your own score, fine. And I have no issue. I think the single biggest advocate should always be you. But if you have somebody that's coming in and saying, well, I don't like Dave and I want to protest every one of his scores, and so I want you to get all of his hat cam video and he has to provide all that evidence, that's a level of, you call it, it's just kind of bullshit, I guess. It's just like, no. Most of these people are doing this to get out of mowing the lawn on a Saturday. And if we're getting that petty, we don't make enough money in this sport to be that's persnickety about things.
Well,
that's kind of how I look at it. And especially to have like, I mean, like in our sport, I mean, it's like we always talk about, don't blue falcon somebody, and like if you walk up and you see that the RO missed something, sure, go tell the dude, hey Dave, you know what, there was a no shoot here that the RO didn't call. And then at that point, your hands are done. I mean, like you're clean. You wash your hands of the situation, you walk away, and it's on Dave to be, I'm just using you as an example, but it's on Dave to be the honorable, upstanding guy that he truly is, right? And he'll go solve it. But it's not your job to go up there and go, hey, Mr. RO, I need you to pull his hat cam because I'm pretty sure that this wasn't right. And by the way,
it's a level of hall monitoring that I think just needs to be shunned in this sport. Like the dude who would do this kind of thing, like, he's a hall monitor in my mind. Like, his first name is dead at this point. It's just hall monitor from now on.
I agree. It's like, I don't want to be on that dude's squad no more.
Well, like if you're literally, if I'm sitting there and I'm watching Robert shoot, and Robert gets an SO or an RO call, which is just like, dude, that didn't happen, man. Like that didn't happen. And like, should a third party be able to talk to the match director or a range master or their safety officer or range officer and be like I'm protesting this. Like, you're wrong. Like, you're wrong, and you're too hot-headed to sit there and call your own call. And like, you're obviously, something's going on with the shooter here. Like, I visually saw this. I'm protesting that. Like, I don't have any issue with that. And I think that kind of needs to happen, especially in sports like IDPA, where the rules are very open for creative people to come up with exploits for stages. And the level of how dare you do that on my stage, you're supposed to shoot it like this, is exponentially high for match directors and safety officers and stage designers. So I don't mind having something like that. And even like, you have like the last IDPA match I shot, I got railroaded by a call that's not in the rule books. And so, watching 4 guys come up with 7 or 8 different arguments to figure out why I still need to get a procedural that I did not earn, and the argument changes over the course of an hour. Like, I would absolutely like an official capacity for an eyewitness to say that this is that, or that could be explained. But for people to fine-tooth comb over scores to find the seconds and times to make their life slightly easier or their score slightly better or somebody else's score worse, it's like, that's not happening. We have the first shot, we have the last shot, we have the approval, and we have the review. And unless the shooter or the officiator finds something wrong, or the match director finds something wrong with that score, then that score goes stands. Like, there's plenty of scores that we've all shot enough practical pistol stuff and matches to see there are scores that you sit there and you pull up and you go like, what's the raw time on the score? And you're like, how the hell did that guy shoot that 12 seconds faster? And then you find it's like, oh, like there was a better way of shooting it 3 seconds faster or 12 seconds faster, and like the hits can be here or there. And sometimes people have God runs. And it happens. And like people can have God runs over Austin Prue, who's probably, in my opinion, one of the best shooters in the country that no one's ever heard of because he just shoots.
I wish IDPA. That dude would shoot USPSA and just let everybody see how good he is, because he's a beast.
Yeah. He's absolutely an amazing shooter. His dad, Walt, and 100%. Austin are the finest really nice class people. Acts. I've sat there and seen them in IDPA matches in 2009 when Walt would just shoot it and Austin was too small. And like they are absolutely fantastic people, and you know they're great. But like people have God runs, and to sit there and like the amount, it's a little bit less in IDPA. I mean in USPSA, but not among the guys who are brand new in the tryhards. Like the IDPA tryhard personality of finding whatever thing makes them better is pretty. There's a pretty high level of it. There's the try-hard sweat lords of IDPA. It's like
the try-hards are difficult to be around in both games, but the IDPA one's a special brand. It's true.
Absolutely, it's like try-hard. It's like try-hard downhill skiers in the Special Olympics. Like it can be catty.
Yeah, the interesting thing though, just thinking about this, is in USPSA, and I haven't been in IDPA for so long, so I don't know how they do it. But in USPSA, the official scoring app is Practice Score. And Practice Score, we have Practice Score Competitor, and so many people look at Competitor as because it live updates and does all those really cool things for so many people. They see Competitor as being the app, but in reality, Practice Score is the only app that is officially recognized by USPSA, and I suspect IDPA is probably in a similar boat. The thing about Practice Score is it doesn't record the splits. The time is the only thing that's there. And so when you want to have an argument with it, you have to actually go up and say, you know, I'm pulling this information out of Practice Score or Competitor, which is not an official app. It has nothing to do with it. And so the information that comes from Competitor really shouldn't even be brought into play. And so if somebody as a second party or third party, is coming up and saying, well, I'm looking in the Practice Score Competitor, you're like, well, that's cool, but that's not the scoring. That's not what
it's not first party. It's not first party evidence. Like
no, Practice Score Competitor is for your personal training. It is not for match administration.
Yeah, like we could all kind of do the thing like if we were all ROing or SOing and we saw something like that and somebody brought it to our attention, it'd be like, well, let's just hit review on the timer. And then we'd go through, we'd click through the review on the timer and we'd be like, well, we didn't get this shot. But we've all had that when it's been like, your last split was 3.7 seconds. I think we hit the timer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just go back on the first party timer and then we go back and click it. And now, you know, as we sync to the iPad and then we go into the commander timer, we can see, all right, well, let's look at the splits. Okay, so this was his last split, and then this is the 3-second split, so we'll just do the last split. Like all that kind of stuff under like the official like first timer of the RO, the scorekeeper. Like we have answers for these issues if they're brought up immediately, and like they can be fixed. But this whole, I don't know, forensic analysis.
If you're coming back 30 minutes later, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, 30 minutes later with just literally one part of the puzzle and then trying to find a camera and then taking that evidence and then like trying to mash it together and then being like, now we're going to adjudicate the scores again. And then like, at what level does this stop?
Yeah. I don't know. It was an interesting scenario I hadn't encountered before. And there really isn't good. And I looked in both sports rule books to see like, okay, if this happened in USPSA, how would it be handled? If it happened in IDPA, how would it be handled? And there's not really, in my mind, a great.
In USPSA, it's actually easy. It's easier. I can tell you the general process to get to where an answer is. because competitor's not viable. You can't use that as evidence. Video you can use but you can't go and compel somebody to give you video after the fact. Once the RO and the shooter have agreed and signed the receipt and all that stuff and hit approve, that's it. And you cannot compel them to reshoot the stage, except for a really limited amount of time, situation where the time is just so patently obvious. Like, this person only had 0 seconds for the stage. That doesn't really happen anymore because of the way Commander and Practice Score integrate so well. But in the past, you would have situations where the time was just so off. But even then, it still comes back to you have the RO and the shooter have to both agree to make that change. And barring some very fine situations, that didn't come into play here.
Well, IDPA has a match administration. It's not in the rule book. It's in the match administration book. It's not very long, so that's the only reason. I was like, they got a match administration book. What's in there?
Right.
The match director in IDPA can edit up until scores are posted. That the match director can edit scores. So in IDPA, the situation does exist where, like, if somebody were to narc on another shooter, and get it in front of the match director could, in his, discretion, edit the score up until the scores get posted. Then it would be a protest. So it's interesting. I don't know. It's probably all there is to talk about on that one, but it was an interesting scenario to experience.
I think the using video or whatever, or like editing the scores, something for procedurals or like safety violations or DQs or something like that. That very easily could go in there in the match director. I could see, editing a score from a procedural or something like that, a flagrant penalty. The hard thing is sitting there looking at the split times and deciding what shots counted and what shots did not count, and what shots are quote unquote missing. So I think that's a can of worms that the scope of like officiating, like that's too big of a scope for people to sit there and go through and to arbitrate, because we've seen people. There are people in this sport who will argue a perfect double that obviously did not exist and would not bring video evidence of them shooting in between the targets.
Well, at that IDPA match, one of the guys on my squad successfully argued a perfect double on a drop turner. And when he said, "I think that's a double," I laughed. And I was like, that's a double? It's like, it's not a perfect circle bullet hole. It's like, it's a turning target.
Yeah, it's there's no shame for these people. And like, that's kind of the thing. It's like if I walk by a miss, I go, that sure looks like a miss. If you feel like you would like to put a overlay it, that's fine. But if it's a miss, I fully accept it. And like, there's a level of honorless trophy chasing from people who don't understand that nobody cares. And
there's so much truth in that, and like this idea that, but you've seen it, right? I mean, I've shot with people who, they have their G card and they're using that card as like evidence that they're worth coming and training with, and so they're gonna, even though they're not a G anymore, they're still clinging to that idea that people somehow have to be that in order to take a class or continue their training company. It's just
I would just prefer not giving these people any more weapons to sit there and legislate the quote unquote glories of the past victories or defeats. It's a sport that has to have a hard line of telling participants, no, thank you for your concern, valued customer. We're moving on. And in the future, could something like this be used, and could official match photography be used to calculate stuff? Absolutely. But if it's a part of an official program, and these are the official cameras, and the people who are officiating it have the access to them to make the proper calls. At this point, what we're doing is we're going to argue balls and strikes from third-party people watching the same game you are with their camera. It's just like, I used my software. And that one, that's a ball. That was a ball. I should have been struck out.
Dumb thing of oh, sorry.
Go. I'm done. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, who's it? Jody Hummel. She's like, now I'm gonna start wearing a hat cam, and I'm gonna start recording the shooters, so that I have evidence against the shooters. And it's like, okay, now we've gotten to the point of ridiculousness where you have the ROs recording everything.
Body cams on the ROs.
Like, holy shit, you guys! Nobody makes money in this stupid sport.
Listen,
like, everybody chill out for a bit. Like, no, I gotta have that 1x6 that has my name engraved in it because I shot a match. That's gonna prove my worth to my wife, who I blew $15,000 this year. That 1x6 is gonna mean something. Damn it.
Yeah, and she'll text you from the movie theater with her boyfriend to let you know let you know she's proud of you. Like, listen, I'll say this. Like, listen, if we're gonna end up with ROs with body cameras and SOs with body cameras, and everybody wants to be camered up to prove that their version of the truth is the most honorable version of the truth, and they're going to bend the truth in whatever way. If you want to become IDPA George Floyd, like, go ahead. But this is the hell that you've designed. like 1984. Like, everyone's deciding that they can't trust everybody over a tenth of a second. And so we're going to have to film everything. And then it's going to be some confrontational thing that everybody's like, we can't trust the officials. One time I saw a score that was like this. It's just like, go home. Go home. Like, back in the day, you used to play sports and you used to get screwed over. And like, you'd get legitimately screwed over and then be like, that sucks. That happens. But it's not if you win or lose. It's how you play the game, which means the dignity in which you conduct yourself in playing the game means you get invited next time and the time after, and people that learn that they can trust you. If you want to knick-knack every little thing, you're playing the game wrong, and we don't want to see you win. You're playing the game wrong, and we would like to uninvite you from making everything a participatory hell. So, thank you, IDPA George Floyd, for bringing up this conversation.
Sponsors,
if you would like to hold up your pants while arguing for calls to just try to make yourself feel better, there's a belt for great competitors and competitors like you. It's called Dominate Defense and American Operator Gear. Use promo code PARA10, save 10% off your belt, operator belt, concealment belt, Mach 1 speed belt. I got all three, and they're all fantastic, and I love them very much. And Jason Bunderson is a fantastic person who can take his lumps in life and then not complain to everybody about it. So check them out. Use promo code PARA10, save 10% off your offer. If you want something to drape over that belt or tuck in behind that belt, check out Weekend Gunner. He makes fantastic colorful sun shirts that you can wear to your match. Stay sun-free, cancer-free, and, of course, look good while doing it. Wear your sun hoodie. Get your whole crew together. You can put them on, show up at a squad. You look like a freaking Star Trek away team. And
wear the red shirts.
Wear the red shirts. And then also, maybe body cam mounts coming soon. So check out him. I don't know if he has a promo code, but How Deep Is Your Love will get you 13% off. Lance, go ahead and code that. Weekend Gunner. Check him out. Also, check out Rune Tactical. Get a +1 more fun in your gun. This Heckler & Koch 20-round magazine, could I make it 21? No, but the other one I can. I could make it 23. Use promo code PARA10, save 10% off your offer. +1 extensions. Have one. Have two. It's a tool in the toolbox. Also, W74 guide rods. Tungsten guide rods. Tungsten matters.
Are you exhausted? You need to take a break? Like, no, you have so many sponsors.
It's you know what? We literally make probably nothing on this. We're just good people. You know what this is? We're literally like the helpers of the USPSA world. We do this for free. And the
love of the game.
Love of the game. You know what? That's how we play it. Kevin Isaac, you guys know him. You guys love him. He shreds, and he has heavy things in his gun. Use promo code PARA10.
And he's a nice guy,
dude. He's a solid dude. You know what?
He's a super cool dude.
Lance is a super cool dude. Aaron's a super cool dude. Kevin's great. And Jason Bunderson's fantastic people. Like there's.
I ate ice cream with Kevin Izet. He gets my seal of approval.
Like he's just a good guy. Like he's just a good guy. Like if I saw him on To Catch a Predator, I would turn it off and say it's a lie. I would do that. Only for Kevin. Telegram.
State of the media these days.
That's my highest compliment. If I see you on To Catch a Predator and I say, Chris,
that didn't happen.
Chris Hansen, you lying son of a bitch. This isn't real. This is AI.
You probably know why they stopped doing To Catch a Predator, right?
Why did they stop doing it? I saw him on Julian Dory's podcast.
Somebody went and killed themselves.
Somebody stepped outside when they were caught and unalived themselves in the driveway.
Oh,
and so they canceled the show. But I mean,
the problem solved itself. I got to be honest with you. I mean, like half the people that watch that show are like, yeah, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
I mean, if it was a guy who was really gonna do it, like, then I feel bad. But if it was the Uber driver, like that show's got to stop, right? Because if you're just looking for content, let's, David, you know how tough the YouTube video making world is. Like it's blood from a stone nowadays. The ad revenue's not what it used to be. Like you listen, if I was on hard times, would I create an at home To Catch a Predator where I just call in Uber drivers and then like confront them? I'm not saying no. I'm just saying that could happen. And if it did, it's a travesty. It's a complete travesty. Anyways,
I'm just saying, I mean, like, you'll do anything to like get the clicks up, which brings up our question from Sebastian. What's the next ridiculous costume the humble marksman will be wearing on a YouTube video?
Oh, gracious. It's been a while. I don't know. I don't want to limit myself, man. I still have some like costumes from work events and stuff that could make their debut. I think Ricky Bobby could be a thing.
I think you need to shoot single stack, and I think you need to go get yourself a TIOS GI. Okay, hear me out. You get yourself a fine TIOS GI. You make some minor changes to it. Then you get yourself a Detroit Tigers hat, some sunglasses, a Hawaiian shirt, and some short shorts. Ran a Ferrari and show up as Magnum PI. And then you could shoot that. That would be fantastic.
But I like the direction this man's going. I agree with all this.
I will say shooting in costumes is more fun. The last one I did, it was a mullet wig with a Dolly Parton t-shirt, some Pit Viper glasses, and like a sun visor and short shorts. And that was a good time. I enjoyed myself. Although I will say, I don't know how you people have long hair. Holy cow, my neck was so hot just with that lovely mullet streaming down the back there. So
my son Mike had super long hair for 3 years. Like it was probably down to his mid chest. He just had growing up. And like one day in like January 2023 goes, it's time. And so he went to the salon, and they cut his hair. And the first thing, I have a video of him going to the car, and he's like just shaking his head all around like crazy. He goes, it's so cold and my hair's so light. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how people do it. And then like, Paige should have never cut her hair. But like, it's just, it's not for everybody. It's not for my comfort. Okay. Magnum
Jamie.
PI. Yeah. Go ahead.
Anyway, Jamie, the CZP09F Nocturne SR, is that the last pistol I'll ever need to buy?
What is the SR model?
I have no clue. I've never heard.
I don't know what the SR is.
Is that their suppressor ready? Is that their nomenclature?
That's probably what that means.
For
I'll pull it
suppressor
up.
ready. P10.
Yes,
No, Nocturne.
But honestly,
P09 Nocturne.
I don't know why anybody
SR.
would actually buy the Nocturne. I mean, if you want a good gun, buy the P09 or the P07.
I don't even know if they make those anymore.
They don't make them anymore. This replaced it. Yeah, that's the suppressor ready one. That's all it is. It's a threaded barrel and slightly taller sights. They probably call them suppressor sights, but they don't look much taller than just like tall regular sights.
It's probably a great gun, honestly.
It is. Here's a couple things about the P09. One, Good on them for biting the bullet and making it just one optic footprint for the gun. Like, that takes a little bit of courage from the factory just to make it for the RMSC. Plenty of good optics for the RMSC pattern. Good for them. Could they fix the damn firing pin and the trigger return pin, like springs? They could, but why? You know, you're not going to. And they ship them with something now? Don't they ship them with something to prevent the pins?
A snap cap. They give you a snap cap to put in the chamber while you dry fire.
To prevent the firing pin from over protruding and then breaking the rope. Okay. Well, that's a cheaper solution.
You solve that with what is it? It's a $5 part from Cajun Gunworks, which is a solid metal rod.
That will eventually cause, like, whichever of those metals is the hardest, like, one of them is going to give up. But it does greatly extend the service life of that roll pin.
Well, yeah, that's why
the people that are buying this gun, they're never going to fire the gun that much. I mean, I'm being a dick a little bit, but they're not going to fire that gun enough to actually make that an issue.
I think it's probably the most modern hammer-fired pistol that's available on the market. It's the only one that's absolutely...
The Beretta PX4?
Nope, not optics ready from the factory.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then the new Berettas have adopted the Langdon footprint, which does not shoot great iron sights, and it's still kind of this weird T-posted CH precision thing. Like the Nocturne. The Nocturne is an RMSC. It's a direct mounted. It's a hammer-fired pistol. It's got all the stuff that you're supposed to need to. It's so good, CZ decided to make it a Shadow 2 carry and just copy all the features of the Nocturne and charge you $1,000 more. Like, it's a fine service pistol. The other thing with what Dave was saying is, like, the pin is cheaper than the firing pin. And if you're going to have a harder roll pin installed and then you have it smacking the firing pin, well, the firing pin's going to break, and the firing pin's like a $40 part. So it makes sense that you would have the firing pin block, that thing be the cheaper part in the gun.
Well,
that still doesn't excuse the
there's the other solution that you take the roll pin and you just you pre-fatigue it, where you just cut out the channel that would stop it. And then it's just going to free float, and it'll never be a problem.
And then you get a hole in your shoe.
Not if you don't start with it cocked and locked. It cocked and unlocked, technically.
I think
start with the gun hammered down. It'll never be a problem.
I think the Nocturne's a fine gun, but there's many striker-fired guns that are really good from the box that would suit all your needs just fine.
Right.
So...
from Mark, which Glock magazine feeds the best in a 2011? Dave?
I mean, they all have the same feed angle, so they're all going to feed about the same. Like the Mechgar and the Magpul and all of them, they all feed the same. I like the Mechgar ones because you can get more rounds into them. They don't work well in Glocks, or as well as the regular Glock mags, but you can get more rounds into them. And they work great in the staccatos and the platypus and all that stuff. So, like, the Glock mags I use for those guys, I bought a bunch of them because they're only $20.
Yeah.
They're great. I like the Mechgar ones.
David, the Mechgar ones work well in a Glock if you change out the mag release.
The mag catch to a metal mag catch, yeah.
Yeah.
The question I have, because I haven't messed around with them, David, and you'd probably know, is over insertion with the Mechgar magazines. Like, if you have a Glock 17 size Mechgar magazine, you're feeding a Glock 19, Glock 26, or something like that with, like, the staccatos. Like, if you had the HD4 versus the HD4.5, if you're using a larger Mechgar magazine, does it have an over insertion stop, or are they just relying on the floor plate?
If you can give me a minute, I can go grab one of them, and we can answer this question, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, that would be good, because I think that was, yeah, go ahead and do that. Well, me and Robert we'll check another question.
These are mostly for Dave anyway, but actually they're all for Dave. Damn it.
That's fine. Let's answer one of them for Dave, and we'll see what happens.
How much time does Dave spend a week working on his content? Is it profitable? And what's the end goal? Seeing as he'll shill anything, can I get a plug for Ron 9mm channel? No, we are not talking about Ron's YouTube channel. Nobody go over to Ron's 9mm channel and watch his YouTube content.
I I would imagine that David spends about. Well, I would imagine that the range time is a wash for Dave because he's going to be there anyway. But I would imagine, I would guess probably about 10 hours a week. He's probably doing something related, and now he returns.
All right.
Let's find out.
So there is not a over travel stop on the magazine in the same like location. It's like right there on the shoulder on the plastic ones. There's not one on the Metcar unless it's somehow molded into the thing some other kind of way that's not obvious to me by looking at it. Doesn't look like it.
I wonder, like I know the CZs, the Metcar mags for CZs, those things had an over insertion problem as well. And I wonder if it's just continued with into this tube.
Yeah,
there's different geometry on the feed lips. Like there's a couple different angles. Like they at the back, they come in at an initial angle, then they get a lot steeper right there, and they might be doing it there where these are indexing at the bottom of whatever where it kind of mates up with it. I don't know, but it's not obvious. It's not done in the same way as the regular Glock mags.
Dave, how much time do you spend a week working on your content?
Depends. I mean, just talking about one video, like a long form video, you get a gun, you got to mess with it. You got to, mount an optic on it or whatever you're going to do with it to get it ready to shoot. So there's probably like 30 minutes of just going through all the crap that comes with it, getting an optic mounted, all that stuff. Depending on how many times you want to take it out to the gun range and the commute times that associate with that. Like I'll take a gun at least to my indoor gun club. I don't necessarily film with them when I'm there because it's not interesting to watch somebody stall shoot. It's loud. It's not good.
Right.
But I'll go there a couple times. But thankfully, I've got my gun club's about a mile from my house, and I've got 24/7 access because I'm a VIP member. It's an expensive membership you can get, and they have a biometric lock on the members only range, and I can let myself in, so that's nice. But then it seems like every proper gun club's 45 minutes away. Mine's no different. It's 45 minutes away. So depending on how many times it goes out. So, and round counts on guns will generally be about 500 rounds on a review. Because I mean, realistically, you don't learn a lot more about how the gun functions between about 500 and about 1,000. Like realistically, about 200 is all it takes for me to kind of understand what's going on with just getting, more footage that I can use with the pistol. And I don't know why 1,000 is the round count that everybody wants to see. Like I probably could shoot 2 mags through a gun and have my complete opinion of the gun, except for how it carries in a holster. Like you actually have to carry it in a holster to figure that out. So, but I'll generally shoot about 500 rounds because that's enough to get interesting stuff. So however long that takes to do on the range. So, probably 3 to 4 hours on the range, call it 2 hours of commute time approximately. Then you got to, if you do it the way my workflow is set up, I actually script my whole video. I don't necessarily say everything in the script, but it organizes all my thoughts and kind of gets a flow to the video that I want to do and gives me something to talk about. I'll still ad lib most of what I say, but it kind of gets my thoughts out on the paper. Probably takes about an hour to get a script kind of dialed into where I like it and I'm saying what I want to say. Actually sitting down and filming the studio piece takes about a half hour, approximately, of getting the lights set up, getting the camera set up, getting the footage off the memory card. The actual spoken piece on the video is usually 25 to 30 minutes long of raw footage, and that'll get edited down to about 13 to 15 minutes. And the editing process is probably what takes the single longest thing, and it's probably a solid, I don't know, 5 or 6 to 1 rule, like for 1 minute of footage, it probably took 6 times as long to edit that 1 minute and get it kind of dialed in. And it depends on the piece. Like the gun review stuff is actually pretty easy to edit. The stuff that is like a bunch, like you're trying to figure out what the story is and have the clips kind of like talk to each other, like conversational editing, that takes forever. Like that takes, 16, 24 hours probably to do those kinds of edits. But I don't do many of them because they're a pain in the butt to do. But when I know what I'm doing, it's a lot easier. So I would guess it probably takes 10 to 15 hours per video, approximately. Ballpark.
Wow.
Well, awesome.
Let's see. From Andy. Driving to the DFW airport was a nightmare yesterday. How do you live there and not want to kill yourself in that traffic?
I don't know if he's spending any time in Houston or Atlanta or LA. DFW traffic is not good, but it is not really, really bad. So I don't know. Maybe there's construction going on. It seems like all the airports everywhere across the country are always under construction. And it always creates traffic problems. I know DFW is. So I don't know what he was in, but DFW can be gnarly, but it's not that bad for a major metro.
Let's see, from Kevin. Question for Mr. Blanton. When is your next match with the 50 AE?
I need to do that again. That was so fun. Like, that was ridiculously fun. I meant to do it this past summer.
Was that the most expensive review?
Hands down. Well, no. Not exactly. I mean, some of these like nice guns that I've always wanted, and like I have a business use to actually buy them. They cost more, but like not that much more. That was, I mean, it was like a $1,600 gun, and 300 rounds of 50 AE was like $300. And I ended up shooting like 160 of them in the stupid video, just in the match. But the 50 AE is a beautiful gun. That's just a great gun. It's not a good gun. It's a very fun gun. It's ridiculous. It's so much fun. It's a good gun.
It is surprising when you look at the Desert Eagle, like the models that are actually out and available, and like kind of the modernizations that they've gone through kind of stealthily under the radar. I mean, we all, know of the non-comp 50 Action Express 44 Magnum Deagle of like yesteryear. But then like you kind of look at it now and then you're like, they're all like, oh, this is kind of comped, and like this one's been lightened up and this one has a shorter barrel than the old version. Like, it's pretty interesting to see what they actually have come out with doing.
I didn't use one of those modern ones. I got a regular non-comped 5-inch gun or 6-inch or whatever it is. That's a great gun. Fantastic gun.
Let's see. Last question from Will. For intermediate shooters, getting into competitive shooting, what would you recommend or do? 2011. Oh, I see. What would you recommend for first competition gun? A 2011 or something else? For an intermediate shooter.
For somebody who knows that this is their home and they don't want to like go do a different hobby, like they're in it and they're going to do it for a number of years, I would say get whatever the gun is that appeals to you the most. For me, that's a 2011. I think 2011s are awesome. And so if you have what you think is the coolest, the best gun, you're not going to have your head turned by all the other guns, because if you're an intermediate shooter, you've been in this racket long enough to understand the guns aren't what's winning. Like, what's winning is the shooter, not the gun. So get the one that you really, really like, that is relatively easy to work on, and, go on down the road. I think the 2011 is kind of a nice Goldilocks blend. They cost a lot of money to get into, but they're also super cheap to keep once you do get them going. Once you get past the magazines.
I kind of find like you could have that answer with every gun but the 2011, because everybody I know who gets a 2011, they're always trying to get like the better 2011, and then they end up with the freaking, what is it, super fancy one, $6,000
Atlas.
The
Atlas.
Or something?
Then they all end up with an Atlas, and then once they get to the Atlas, they're like, all right, I can stop now. But until they get to the Atlas, they're messing around and messing around and messing around and buy the other one, and then they get to the Atlas.
As somebody who has an Atlas, I don't agree. I think that the fancy guns are nice, but like it's just range jewelry. It's just impressing your gun bros. You cannot shoot a well put together, around $2,000 2011 any or worse than, or I should say, you can't shoot the $6,000 gun any better than that $2,000 gun. Like $2,000 is kind of the sweet spot where you get the gun that has all the features that you generally want, looks cool and is going to work, and you don't have to do anything to. And with an Atlas, like, are the triggers better? Yeah. Are they more accurate? Yeah. But they're $6,000 and they're not that much more accurate, and the triggers aren't that much better. So you can't exploit either of those.
Yeah, but like Dave's answer starts literally with the words, well, I already have an Atlas. And then he can but when you don't have one, you have to get one. And that's how I feel these people go.
And that's why I say take a good look at the Shadow 2.
CZ Shadow 2.
That is probably, by today's standards, it's a good entry into the only divisions that matter: limited optics and carry optics. It is relatively ambidextrous, which 2011 is getting there. Oh, thank heaven! You're getting more and more 2011s.
Dude, the P45 staccato, solid gun, super good gun.
Yeah,
I think
really excited about that. How they're
that's
doing
probably
that
it
finally
for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's a great gun.
The only thing you need to do with the Shadow 2 is run federal primers, put a light and firing pin spring, return spring in there, and then get the
keep your finger out of the trigger on the draw.
Keep the cage and gun works. Get the extended firing pin in there, and then you know what? Get a race holster. These are all the things that you need to do, and then you can be as sporty as possible. Like some of these guys' first draw shots are like 27/100th of a second. Like they're fast. They're fast draws. There's one that was very popular 2 weeks ago. It was fantastic. It was crazy.
For those of you who are not following the plot, Tom is talking about the man who shot himself in the big toe.
Have you seen a guy take a first shot faster, David? Have you?
Yes, I have been there.
When you want to race, you got to race, and that's
at Race Gun Nationals. The dude didn't even get the gun out of the holster and shot himself. So that's even faster.
I find it.
I mean, it's great because then you don't waste all the bullets for the rest of the match. You basically just get to go home.
I am
Think
so
about the
happy
money you're saving by just shooting yourself right off the bat.
I am so happy that I don't have to handle everybody's gun when I go to a match, just so I don't actually have to feel as scared. Like my level of fright about people's gun handling and how light their triggers is like this level because I don't know how light the triggers are. It would be up here if I actually had to handle everything, and just seeing people run around because like triggers.
It's funny because I get people who comment on like when I post match video segments, and like if a shot's at on the 175 degree line, and you can see somebody who's at like the 200 degree line, like whoa, that looks way unsafe. It's like what I really want to respond with, you can't say, which is you don't have to worry about somebody turning around and shooting someone. You have to worry about somebody shooting themselves on the draw or the reholster. That's the dangerous part.
Correct. But this always brings up my fascination with the 180. If I'm shooting on a bay and I'm facing the back berm of the bay and somebody's standing 7 feet to the left, get the hell off the range. If we're shooting a USPSA match and I'm doing the same thing, but I'm facing the side bay and we've magically turned on the 180 degree force field, we're okay. We're okay, everybody.
It's totally safe. Totally.
It's completely different. It's good.
Totally fine.
The problem is you see videos of people that are shooting what appears to be on the 180, and there's a really good one because when I went down, I did all the race gun nationals, all those pictures. There's a picture of that a guy he did his video, and it looks like I'm standing right on the 180, and he's firing the gun right at me. And if I hadn't been there taking the picture, I'd be like, yeah, that was really sketch. But it's like, no, I was like well up range of him. But the way that cameras distort and compress everything, it makes it look a lot worse than it really is. And I mean, I say that knowing full well I have a iPhoto album filled with times people have pointed guns at me. I know that happens. But even saying that, it's like, yeah, I mean, this is the game we play, and we kind of play that game, and that's just how we roll.
This is the way men used to be made. We used to not complain about scores. We did, but we would just eat it like a man. Like that's the way we used to stand down range and take photos, and we didn't have to wear body cameras to make sure everything went okay. So take that into the sport, which it's meant is just that please stop. You remember that Michael Jordan meme?
I feel like I can trust you now that you're a mustache Tom. Like now that Tom Nelson has a mustache and he says these things to me, like this guy's onto something.
Faint beard. I sometimes think about shaving my face. And then Paige looks at me and goes, I mean, you can if you want. But you can see the absolute terror that's in her eyes. Like I remember I shaved my face while we were dating, and then she saw it, and then like she just kind of like looked at it and then kind of like went away. And then so, that's why I have it, for for the love and for that makes me look so much more wise. I could borrow some glasses, and then I'd look even more wise. She's just sitting.
She just didn't want to like marry somebody that looked younger than her.
He has wizened eyes. Look at those crow's feet right there. You don't get those without being a wise man.
Well, and apparently
that are beat down by life.
Oh yeah, the furrow. Yeah,
the furrow is from judging people. Apparently, this is a sign of aggression and judging people, and it's like I can't get rid of it. Like I can't even pull my eyes apart enough to get rid of it.
It's just resting Tom face. That's all that is.
That's all that is from dealing with a certain person for 23 years. It's just like, what are you saying to me? This sounds like a dirty lie. Anyways, please, people. Be good. Check out The Humble Marksman. It's a fantastic, well-informed video. And if you're a new shooter, you can sort some of these things out there by some of David's like training videos on defeating recoil on this thing. He's a fantastic shooter, and it's one of the best places I go when I'm looking at something. Because like when he talks to you about feeling and like impulse of a gun, you know that the guy's been shooting for a long time and knows what he's talking about slower impulses and faster impulses and about grip and stuff like that. Like there's all this YouTube content about gun reviews and everything like that. And like, listen, a lot of them are just taking the gun for 50 rounds and they don't know anything. And I've literally seen them for 15 years and they haven't gotten any better at shooting. And some of them have even gotten worse, but Dave's not one of them. So check him out. Fantastic channel. Is there too much 2011 content? Yes. Listen.
That's what they're making, dude. I review what they make. They're making 2011s now.
Does he need to do some nostalgic stuff? Should he get a Beretta 1934 or something like that? Sure, he should, but he's not doing that. He's not doing that. I've already said my... Oh, what the cuss? Is this...
It's the Warrior.
It's the DS Warrior, everybody.
Yeah. It's got a red dirt trigger on it. It's been upgraded, which is just I test fitted a red dirt trigger for my buddy who works at Red Dirt. That's all that is, and it fits. It's actually pretty solid. This
is what the Prodigy should have been, correct?
Well, if the Prodigy, like I like the fact the Prodigy is a bull barrel, and I like the fact that the frame is steel. This being a 5-inch gun with an aluminum frame, like I actually carry this gun now because it's lightweight. And I can carry 5-inch guns because I'm a half giant. But it's a good. I mean, it's a good enough gun. The trigger's good. The controls are nice.
Enough of them.
About $1,000.
Enough of them work out of the box, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, like I am a Kimber brand ambassador when I compete. So, take all of that with a heavy grain of salt. But at the same time, they make decent 2011s. I've been competing with them since last year, and they're good. They're good enough to do anything we ask these guns to do. And that's an inexpensive 2011, but at the same time,
well, even the two. To be fair for everybody, like the 2K had a good reputation before you were shooting it. Like the 2K11 is the new non-staccato, functional, reputable 2011 for $2,000.
Well, the backstory there is I was at the launch for the 2K11, and like this is just to cover it as media, and I was, picked up because I'm a technical kind of nerd on this stuff, and one of the guys at Kimber is also on that same wavelength. So when they invited the people out to it, it was the actual media people that they wanted to cover the gun, and it was me for the technical kind of feedback on the gun. So the first night at dinner, there were 3 million plus channels that you would recognize at the dinner. So all the media people were fawning over those guys, and the engineer and product guys were just like, "What do you think about? What do we change?" Blah, 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 and just talking to me about it. And so I gave them feedback of the early production 2K11s. They incorporated not just mine, but like Frank Proctor was one of their brand ambassadors or whatever last year, and he gave them a lot of the same feedback. But me and Frank said a lot of the same stuff about the guns. So like they did all the stuff that we said, and the guns got better. And like what's interesting about Kimber is they're a large company, but they're incredibly agile. Like if somebody wants to do product development. Yeah, I know it is. I probably shouldn't say this, but this gun was announced at SHOT Show this year. The concept for the gun was just kind of spitballing in like October of last year, and they just made it happen. They just kind of got it all together and just made it. Because I mean, it's an amalgamation of parts that they kind of already make, because it's all like a 1911 upper, and then they already make.
It looks like a TRP slide.
Yeah,
it looks like a TRP slide.
Exactly.
It's like I like the looks of that thing because it reminds me of a double stack TRP. Sorry, not
it
TRP.
Does.
Sorry, TLE2.
Yeah, TLE. Yeah. And so I mean, it's pretty similar, but I mean, they're doing cool stuff, and the thumb safety things. Like I talked about the thumb safety the very first time I picked up the gun at the launch event. Like everyone's like, "Well, Ben Steger got him to change it." Like, no, that was a change that was like in the works since before the gun was even announced to the world. And it just takes a while to come up with a fix. They fixed it, and now it's got a nice bevel on it. It's not a problem anymore. So they are iterating on the guns, and they improve the guns. So, and I mean, I give them feedback all the time. Like I text with the dude multiple times a week, who is their product guy, and they're doing cool stuff with the guns, and they're only going to get better. They're already very good, but they're getting better.
It kind of makes you happy to see Kimber actually come back from the ashes. Because I mean, there was a point where they were putting some really good product out, and they kind of went down, and it just became this like trash tier, and everybody joked about them. It's nice to see them coming back.
They've got a new. If you look at the Warrior, you can see who I think their new CEO is, or whatever. You can see who he is. He's a young guy, and he's really bright, really switched on. I say young relative to what you probably would imagine for a CEO. I mean, he's probably, I don't know, late 40s, early 50s, something like that. But he's a sharp dude, and like really sharp. I mean, Kimber is owned by a company, and they have a board, and the board was some more experienced folks, and trying to do something different with double stacks. I mean, that was a change, and it was it was a risky move because they were running away from the products that brought them to the dance, so to speak. Yeah. But what's interesting is like the 2K11 just exploded in popularity, because you can't really spend that amount of money, like for $2,000 or whatever they cost. You can't get a pretty 2011 for $2,000 unless you buy a Kimber. You can get a pretty one of those, but all the other ones are black. Like you can get black, and in some cases you can get stainless, and that's it.
Yeah.
But they're doing PVD finishes, and I mean the finishes are only improving. Like I've got some ridiculous stuff on my phone of stuff with them playing with their new finish machine. It's going to get better.
That's awesome.
So it's fun to watch for sure.
Well, fantastic. Hopefully they'll come up with a custom shop, and I can get IDPA George Floyd written on the side of mine. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for, or maybe pick your gun. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for subscribing. For Robert Wyatt and Dave Blanton, I'm Tom Nelson, bidding you peace, love, and souls. We depart into the open waters of the Sea of Life on a little tugboat we like to call the PARAcast.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.